Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. I'm your host, Manager Marty. So glad to be here with you all bright and early in the morning. Welcome to each and every last one of you who are here live and in living color. Appreciate you so very much. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me. And if you're watching the replay of this live, I welcome you as well. I'm so relieved right now because it feels so relaxing, so refreshing when you wake up in the morning and have peace in your life. It is so refreshing. I mean, if there's anyone or anything in your life that's disrupting your peace, I pray that you find the right ingredients to promote peace in your life by removing that person or that thing that's disrupting your peace. That's my word for you all today. Before I start any show, that's exactly what I'm going to start doing moving forward. Yes, I'm going to give you entertainment. Yes, I'm going to give you education, but I'm also going to give you encouragement. That's what this platform is about. Double salute and shout out to the friends of this channel, our friends of this channel, the sponsors of this channel, and even this live video, and we have more sponsors to come. But for now, double salute and shout out to our sponsors, the great Courtler Manus, LLC, personal injury lawyers in the state of Pennsylvania and in the state of New Jersey. Doesn't matter what city you reside in either one of those states. If you need a personal injury attorney, irregardless of what the situation is, no matter the issue, I guarantee you that Courtler Manus will fight for you. And I also guarantee that not only will they fight for you, but you will win. It's a guarantee. I promise you that. Number at the bottom of your screen, 267-457-4201. Website, wefightwewin.com. Courtler Manus, personal injury attorneys in the state of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. They are licensed in both states. They practice in both states. Doesn't matter, workman's comp, medical malpractice, slip and fall, automobile accident, you name it. I mean, it's like 15 or 16 different things that can actually occur. Not only will they file the lawsuit on your behalf, but I promise you, they're going to put some cash in your pocket. I guarantee you that. And here's the thing, I have to say this because this is as equally as important. I'm not just saying that because they sponsor videos on this channel. No, no, no. I'm saying that because I am coming from personal experience with hiring them within the past 10 years for several different reasons. And every time I called Cortland Manis, not only did they answer, but they fought and we won. And I recommended them to family members and friends of mine. And not only did they answer, but they fought and they won. If I approve anything on this platform, if I vouch for anything on this platform, you know it's real. You know it's real. Go ahead, reach out. Cortland Manis LLC. Calling them at the bottom of your screen, 267-457-4201. WeFightWeWin.com is their website address. Also, got to plug myself in this now. I am the least paid content creator on YouTube. It's no secret. I mean, everybody knows that. Even Rachel Donaire claimed that I was broke. So it's no, it's no secret. All of your support and contributions to the platform goes back into the platform so that I can continue to provide you with quality content with substance day in and day out. But I also accept Cash App. It's at the bottom of your screen, $Manager Marty, and I will publicly acknowledge you when you provide your financial resources. I am so excited to be here this morning. Now, enough with the hugs, handshakes, and Valentine's Day cards. Brian Norman Jr. just got finished competing in the ring in Japan. Literally, I want to say about over 45 minutes ago against Jin Sasaki. Now, I know the title caught some of you off guard, and I'm glad it did. Because we need answers. And hopefully, really soon, we get them. Here's the thing. Brian Norman Jr. is a special fighter. He's very talented. He's very skilled. He is the epitome of a world champion. Not just because of his talent, not just because of his skills, not just because of the way he performs inside the boxing ring, but also how he conducts himself as a young man, a young champion outside of the ring. Brian Norman Jr. is a world champion in the welterweight division. Now, Brian Norman Jr. did a tremendous job in this fight against Jin Sasaki. As we all know, Brian Norman Jr. won by knockout, not technical knockout, or as we call it affectionately, TKO. But he won by knockout. Not just any knockout, devastating knockout. By devastating knockout because, and I say devastating because it's always scary when you see a professional boxer on the canvas inside of a boxing ring knocked out unconscious. It's one thing for a professional boxer to get knocked down and be extremely hurt, try to get back up. The ref counts to 10, wave the fight off, and of course, obviously at that point, when the fighter does not beat the count, obviously that is considered a knockout. But it's another thing, though, that a professional boxer, a fighter, gets knocked out and they're unconscious, where medical personnel who are seated ringside have to pull out a stopwatch or look at their actual wristwatch to time how many minutes and or seconds the fighter is unresponsive. There's two things I know about controversy. Controversy creates cash. And I learned that back in 1997 when I first heard the great Eric Bischoff of WCW say that publicly. And then I also recognized something that I came up with since I started coming on YouTube as an influencer. That controversy creates conversation. And so the controversy that's going to create conversation is the conversation that needs to be had. You ain't going to find this nowhere else. That's why I'm glad you're here. The conversation that needs to be had is with Brian Norman Jr. But I know after this live this morning that Brian Norman Sr., he's going to want to have to answer the questions. And I expect that. In fact, I actually encourage that. Now, some of you might be saying to yourselves, Manager Marty, why would you put in your title Brian Norman Jr. when it's suspicious? Why would you do that? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let's talk about that for a second. I have a few questions that I would like to ask Brian Norman Jr. But before I ask Brian Norman Jr. a few questions, I want to ask you all some questions. The live audience here, the audience member that's watching this live via replay. I want to ask you something. Please feel free in the chat to engage with me. Please feel free in the comments section below to engage with me. We need answers. Question number one. When is the last time you've seen Brian Norman Jr. land one punch and knock a professional boxer out unconscious? Just name one. We don't have all day. And so I want to make sure that we all engage quickly as we can. I just want to ask that. I have more questions, but just that one question first. I want to start the show off with that question, lay a foundation first. Hey, Dory. You know, when Dory's in the chat, Mac Marty is activated because I know that when Dory's here, other women usually start following in to tune in. So good morning to you, Dory. But I'm glad that women view this platform because they learn so much and they know a lot about boxing. Don't underestimate women who are fans of the sport of boxing. They know a lot of boxing, and I encourage their participation. But enough with the hugs, handshakes, and Valentine's Day cards. I just have a question. When is the last fight that you've seen Brian Norman Jr. land one punch and knock out a professional boxer unconscious? Just name one. We on time constraints. Yeah, I just want to know. Because you might know something that I don't. That's why I'm asking you, the live audience. That's why I'm asking you, the audience members that's watching the replay that's live. When? Just name one fighter if you can. Okay, I have another question. Just another question. What punch did Brian Norman Jr. land to score the knockout that caused Jen Sasaki to be unconscious this morning? Can someone answer that? Just in the live chat or the replay of this live membership uh, in the comments section. I just want to know, what punch was that? No, the one he just scored about an hour ago. The punch that he just landed on Jen Sasaki that caused Jen Sasaki to be unconscious, knocked out cold in the middle of the ring. What punch was that? Can somebody tell me, please? Listen, y'all, we need engagement this morning. I just want to know, it's just one question, that's all. Thank you, Dory and Jay Henderson. Left hook? Okay, so it was a left hook. One punch. Left hook. Knocked Jen Sasaki out. Cold. Unconscious. Okay. All right. And Brian Norman Jr.'s last fight. Yeah, the one before this fight. The one, in March of this year, a couple months ago. What punch did Brian Norman Jr. land to score the TKO in the third round in that fight? Anyone know? Anyone? As the viewership is increasing exponentially. I'm going to ask that question again because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So, the last fight that Brian Norman Jr. competed in March of this year, a few months ago, he scored the TKO. In that fight, what punch did he land to score that TKO against Derek Quavos? Anyone know? Anyone? Okay. All right. So I guess since no one knows or maybe don't want to answer right now, I'll answer. How about the straight left hand? Like that jab. How about that? Okay. I have another question. When Terrence Crawford knocked out David Evanesian, unconscious, out cold, what punch did Terrence Crawford land on him to score that knockout? Anybody? Does anyone know? Okay, I'll answer. The left hook. Yeah, it was the left hook. Okay. I have another question. Shall I ask? Okay. What punch was it that Terrence Crawford landed against Errol Spence the first time he knocked Errol Spence down in the second round? Does anyone know? You do know, you just don't want to answer right now? Okay, I'll answer it for you. The straight left. Couple of similarities, huh? So Terrence Crawford knocks out David Evanesian with one punch, which was the left hook, and he knocked David Evanesian out cold, unconscious. Unconscious, he was unconscious, okay. Brian Norman Jr. lands one punch, the left hook, and knocked Jen Sasaki out cold, unconscious. Okay. Okay, I understand. Terrence Crawford lands the straight left against Errol Spence and knocked him down in the second round. He was hurt too, by the way. Okay. All right. Brian Norman Jr. landed that same punch, the straight left, in his last fight against Derek Quavos, knocked him down, but he didn't get up. He TKO'd him, hurt him. Similarities. Caleb Plant landed a left hook when he knocked out Anthony Durrell and had Anthony Durrell knocked out unconscious in that fight. Okay. Similarities. Oh, okay. All right. I see what y'all saying. Manny Pacquiao landed a hook too. When he knocked out Ricky Hatton in the second round. Knocked him out cold, unconscious. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Okay. A lot of similarities. Now, some people might ask, or you might be asking yourself, Manager Marty, what does these similarities have to do with Brian Norman Jr.? I mean, what difference does it make? I mean, what is the significance of you asking these questions about Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford and Caleb Plant? What's the correlation between those three fighters and Brian Norman Jr.? You might ask yourself that question. We need answers. Well, the reason why I'm asking these questions is because these were questions that I had for myself. When I just watched Jen Sasaki laid out in the middle of the ring unconscious. Okay, let me say this. Someone's correcting me here. That someone's saying that Crawford knocked Spence down with a jab, right hand, in the second round. I don't know why I thought that was the left hand that he landed. I'm not sure why I thought that. And I was actually at that fight. But needless to say, what I'm basically saying is it was a straight shot. It was a straight shot. That's really where I was getting at, not the actual hand itself. But I might be wrong on that part. So I apologize in advance about which hand it was, but it was straight. It's really where I was getting at. These are questions I was asking myself. Because at the end of the day, we need answers. I mean, there's no secret at this point. I'm an anti-doping advocate. So the same questions I had for Terrence Crawford, same questions I had for Manny Pacquiao, same questions I had for Caleb Plant are the same questions that I have right now for Brian Norman Jr. Because we need answers. I want to know something. Did Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki undergo VADA testing? No, I'm just asking a question. I figure, if I just ask questions, maybe we can get some answers. Was there VADA testing for this fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki? Does anyone know? No, that's what I'm asking because I don't know. I figure I ask you all. And hopefully we can get some answers from Brian Norman Jr. himself. I expect his father to have a response after this live goes off, and I encourage it. I can't wait. But I'm just trying to figure out, was there any VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki? That's the question that I just want to know, me personally. That's a personal, because I'm an anti-doping advocate, so I figure, I'd ask. Okay. Listen, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just asking a question. I'm not accusing anyone of using performance-enhancing drugs. I'm not accusing anyone of using steroids. I just have some questions that I want to ask as the anti-doping advocate. You remember how I asked questions about Terrence Crawford's performance when he fought David Ebenezer? When he hit David Ebenezer with a left hook, knocked him out cold, unconscious? You remember when I asked questions about Caleb Plant when he landed a left hook against Anthony Durrell and knocked him out cold, unconscious? Well, I'm asking the same questions about Brian Norman Jr. landing his left hook and knocking out Jen Sasaki cold, unconscious. I mean, of course, we know that he was extra, extra, extra bigger than Jen Sasaki. I mean, if you look at the fight, the eye test alone will show you that. But they both made weight, so there's no excuses. I'm just trying to figure out, when I saw that Terrence Crawford, going to look at your screen, bam. When I saw that Terrence Crawford, and I circled it for y'all so that you can understand where we're going with this. When I saw that Terrence Crawford had these bumps on his face, I asked questions about that. That's the thumbnail that I created. You see the picture in this thumbnail? I created that in a video that's published on this channel. Okay? All right. I had questions when I saw bumps on his face after he knocked out David Ebenezer with the left hook when David Ebenezer was unconscious. This picture was before the Errol Spence fight. Yeah, I just screenshotted it from when he was at the press conference. Yeah, for the Errol Spence fight. Some of y'all remember this. Right? Okay. When Caleb Plant was fighting the guy Utinger, I always I always forget how to pronounce his last name, but some of you go on BoxRec and you'll see. Go on YouTube and you'll see the fight. And I believe that Caleb Plant's performance was enhanced. But the point that I'm making is, when I saw bumps on Caleb Plant's back from that fight, well, I'm just asking questions. That's why I circled it. I just was asking questions about it, For an example, and I screenshotted this, by the way, just so you know. And for an example, like when Caleb Plant fought McGriff, go on and look at your screen now. I took a picture and a screenshot of the actual TV the night of the fight, right afterwards, when the cameras picked up on the hug and the sportsmanship that Caleb Plant was showing McGriff after their fight, because I noticed that there were bumps on his back. Sort of like Pacquiao. I circled it for you. You remember when Pacquiao fought Mayweather and the other people that Pacquiao fought before? Well, I'm just saying, Pacquiao was having these bumps on his back. Now, I'm no dermatologist, but it looks like acne to me because I'm not an expert now. When David Benavidez had bumps on his back and bumps on his face, and I have the pictures, I will show it to you all. Some of you already here when I publicized all of this, and I showed you all in previous live broadcasts before. I had questions. And so now, after this fight, go on and look at your screen. After this fight, I noticed some similarities with Brian Norman Jr. Well, yeah, there's a similarity with him landing the left hook and knocking out the opponent unconscious, like Terrence Crawford did David Ebenezer, like Caleb Plant did Anthony Durrell. Yeah, it was that. But it was other similarities, like these bumps. like the ones I circled on your screen, the ones that's on his chest. There's some on his shoulders too, but I didn't circle it, but you'll see it. You see it. You see it on the chest area near the shoulder. Yeah, yeah. So I have questions. That's all. It's just questions. What are those bumps on his chest? It's the same question that I've been asking everyone else. I'm an anti-doping advocate. I have to look for these things. I know where to look at, you know, to even have these questions. Like, look at your screen now. Bam, I circled it all for you because I have questions now. I see some of these similarities, these little bumps on the back of Brian Norman Jr. This is taken right after the fight. I screenshotted it right there. You can see it right there. I actually took a picture of it on my TV. There it is right there on your screen. I circled it for you. So when you get a chance when this live go off, go on and zoom in so that you can see what I'm talking about. I want to know, what are those bumps on his back? It's the same questions I asked Caleb Plant, same questions I asked Terrence Crawford, same questions I asked for Manny Pacquiao, same questions I asked about David Benavidez. Now I'm asking Brian Norman Jr. We need answers. I'm just asking the question. I mean, don't get mad at me. I want to know two things. Was there any VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki? And my second question is actually two-part. Where did those bumps, what are those bumps on his back and his chest? I'm just asking. I don't know. Listen, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a dermatologist. I'm none of that. I'm not qualified in any area of the healthcare industry. That's why I'm asking questions. I really genuinely want to know. That's why I circled it. Just like I circled Manny Pacquiao's back. That's on your screen now. Just like I circled Caleb Plant's back. You know what I mean? Just like I was circling Terrence Crawford's forehead when he had bumps on his face. You know what I mean? Like, for example, go and look at your screen. Bam! Like I circled Carissa Shields' face. You see it on your screen. See, I'm asking these questions, and I'm still not receiving any answers. Okay? I just want to know. Okay? Okay, I'm just asking. That's what I want to know. And that's why the title says what it says. About Brian Norman Jr.'s win being suspicious. Now, once again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm asking questions. I really want to know. I genuinely, I'm an anti-doping advocate. Everybody knows that in boxing nowadays. Everyone knows that. Everybody knows that in YouTube. Members of the media, it's no secret. Everyone knows that I'm an anti-doping advocate. It's no secret. I just want to know two questions. That's it. Just want to know the answer to the two questions. Number one, was there any VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki? It's just yes or no. And number two, what are these bumps on his back and his chest? You know, there's some on the shoulder area too, above the ones that I circled, but I'm just asking. I really want to know. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I just want to know. Now, I'm not expecting you all that's here live and living color to answer that. I'm not expecting you all that's watching the replay of this live to answer that. That's really an encouragement for Brian Norman Jr. to answer. That's really an encouragement for Brian Norman Sr. to answer. He is the trainer, isn't he? He is his father, correct? Oh, okay. I figured I asked because I genuinely want to know. Okay. You see, when I call out everyone else and ask these questions, some people feel some type of way, especially if they're fans of the professional fighter that I'm asking these questions to. But when it's somebody that is not a fan favorite, it seems that no one's interested. I just want to know. I don't ask for much. But if I do ask questions, it's because I really genuinely want to know. And this is not to diminish the win of Brian Norman Jr. He did what he was supposed to do. He showed skill, he showed talent, and he showed heart as a world champion, taking some big shots from Jin Sasaki. Obviously, Brian Norman Jr. obviously was the bigger, stronger fighter in this fight, more skillful and talented, right? So he deserves credit for beating a guy who's undefeated, and he went to the guy's hometown to get it done. He deserves credit for that. And I gave him credit before I spoke on any of this. But I just had some questions. Was there any VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jin Sasaki? And my second question, what are those bumps on his back, in his shoulder, in his chest? I'm just asking. I circled it for y'all. I'm just asking a question. Nobody can say I'm being biased because these are the same questions that I asked when Caleb Plant was fighting McGriff, and I took a picture of the TV screen and saw his back with bumps on it again for the last several years. This is another picture of Caleb Plant 2 years prior, okay? This is the bumps on Manny Pacquiao's back, okay? And then, of course, this is the bumps on Terrence Crawford's face, okay? This is the bumps on Clarissa Shields' face, okay? I'm showing y'all my screen because a lot of people wasn't here when I first was bringing this up. But a lot of other people who's in the audience right now were here when I brought this up in live time before about the bumps on these fighters' faces and backs when they're rolling with Victor Conte and the snack program. Or when they're associating themselves with someone who is convicted and having a shady past of dealing steroids and PEDs, such as a Memo Heredia and Victor Conte, but particularly Memo Heredia because David Benavidez had bumps on his face and bumps on his back. I have the pictures. Most of you were here in live time when I spoke on this months ago, okay? So what I'm basically saying is that there is no exception to the rule because it's Brian Norman Jr. If I have questions as an anti-doping advocate, I'm going to ask. These are just questions. This is not an accusation. Now, instead of criticizing me in my live chat, how about you give me the answers? Like, for example, what was the punch that Anthony Durrell got knocked out by Caleb Plant with? The left hook, okay? Anthony Durrell was unconscious after that left hook landed, right? Okay. What was the punch that David Evanesian got landed on him by Terrence Crawford when he got knocked out unconscious? Left hook, right? Oh, okay. What was the punch that landed on Jin Sasaki when he got knocked out unconscious? Left hook, right? Okay, then. These are questions that I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. I mean, look, y'all can get mad at me, but these are just questions. I can't ask questions now. I thought that we live in the country of America that gives us freedom of speech. And of course, me, publishing content on YouTube, I thought that I was protected by the other law, freedom of the press. I realized something, ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Road to Take Film crew. I realized something. Freedom of speech ain't free for me. Because when I say a speech, it usually costs me. These are just questions that I have. Double salute to my homegirl, Jab Queen Boxing. She's a member of the channel, supervisor of the Road to Take Film crew. Jab Queen, thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. And Jab Queen Boxing says in the super chat, just showing love and support. And I appreciate the love and support that you show here, Jab Queen. And I'm also going to do the same for your platform. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Jab Queen Boxing when this live goes off. But I just have some questions. That's all it is. That's all it is. Was there VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jen Sasaki? Question number 2, what are those bumps on his back, in his chest, and his shoulders? What are they? I'm not a medical professional. That's why I figured I'd ask. I figured I'd just ask. Like I was asking about Caleb Plant. In 2 to 3 different fights that he was in for the last couple of years. Like I was asking about Manny Pacquiao. Like I was asking about Clarissa Shields. Like I was asking about Alicia Baumgardner when I circled the bumps that was on her face as well. Some of y'all remember that, right? Like I was asking about David Benavidez when I circled the bumps that was on his back and his face as well. Like I was asking about Terrence Crawford when the bumps was on his forehead. It's no different than me asking today about Brian Norman Jr. It's no different. I just want to know, what are they? And was there any VADA testing for the fight between Brian Norman Jr.? You know what? I'm doing way too much talking. Don't take my word for it.